in that long list of human rights heroes should be Hillel Neuer, who has been the head of UN Watch for the last 13 years. What we have here today is the creation of Hillel's dedication, imagination, and enormous spirit. He is the heart and soul of UN Watch. He's also the brains and our speaker, spokesperson. All of us owe a great deal to Hillel. This is a conference on human rights and democracy. Pardon my chauvinism, I'm from the United States, but I think the two go together. Without democracy, you're not going to have human rights. You don't have human rights in totalitarian countries, authoritarian countries, and dictatorships. Liberal democracy came about through the recognition of the rights of man, first proclaimed in the French Revolution, then followed and codified in the laws of my country, the laws of liberal democracies around the world. If liberal democracies are not safe and flourishing, human rights are not protected. There are no countries here today with representatives who have suffered, or themselves or their loved ones have suffered human rights abuses from liberal democracies. But liberal democracies themselves are somewhat on the wane. I'll be speaking a little more tomorrow about this, but the golden days of human rights were right after World War II, when the world was aghast at the atrocities of the totalitarian countries, Nazi Germany, Fascist Italy, totalitarian Japan, and yes, the Soviet Union. We had the Universal Declaration of Universal Human Rights, by René Cassin. We had Eleanor Roosevelt, the chairman of the Human Rights Commission. We had the great Mahatma Gandhi, who passed away in that year, who proclaimed universal human rights. Basically, human rights are universal. They're expressed in the four freedoms: freedom from want, freedom from fear, freedom of religion, and freedom of speech. They're universal. They don't belong to René Cassin. They don't belong to the French Revolution. They don't belong to American democracy. They belong to humankind. And as long as humankind doesn't have the four freedoms anywhere in the world, none of us is totally free. So it's an ongoing struggle. It began with humankind, will continue as long as we exist. The forces of good and the forces of evil. It's within us. And it's for us to bring about the message of good, to spread the word of universal human rights. The struggle has never been more acute than it is today. And I might say, sitting here in the bowels of the United Nations, that we wouldn't be here if the United Nations Human Rights Council or Commission, the names have changed, had done what it should have done. We're here because of the failure of the Human Rights Council, the failure to uphold human rights, the turn from universal to particular, in the interest of a nationality, a religion, a tribe, whatever it may be, promoting the particular above the universal. And once the particular is extolled and becomes the watchword, universality is diminished and human rights are diminished. It can't be human rights for some, it has to be human rights for all. And the absence of human rights can't be explained on the basis of nationality, religion, ethnicity, tribalism. Universal human rights is just what the words say. Universal human rights pertain to all of us. Your presence here today, what you represent in your persons, and the persons you're here thinking of, those who are dear and near to you who are not free today, your presence carries the word. And when you've accomplished your immediate purpose on behalf of this one or that one, each of them heroes, remember that the larger fight is for universal human rights so that all someday may be free. Thank you.